I grew up going to Sunday school. Do you know what I'm talking about, Sunday school? Bunch of kids forced into a room, and you're made to sit and hear about Jesus, which I'm very glad that I was. But I'll never forget this one illustration where the teacher brought out the felt board. Do you know what I'm talking about, the felt board? It's basically, some of you go, what? Is that like an app on my phone? It would actually make an incredible iPhone app, but it's basically a big board and it's fuzzy, and you stick little paper characters onto it, and they levitate. It's magic. And she pulled it out one day. I remember she started talking about Jesus. Here's Jesus. And okay, there's Jesus. She goes, now let me tell you about Jesus' disciples. Here's Peter. Peter doubted. Wasn't very good. And here's Thomas. He doubted too. Also not very good. And then here is John. John is the disciple that Jesus loves. And I said, I want to be the disciple Jesus loves. She goes, John. John was Jesus' best friend. I said, what? I want to be Jesus' best friend. John. And I don't know about you, but it didn't sit well with me that Jesus had a best friend. I thought that was kind of against God's whole MO of loving everybody, you know. And so I actually started reading the Bible as I got older, and I realized that the only place where John is called the disciple that Jesus loves is in the book that he wrote, right? Imagine being one of the other disciples. You're like, hey, John wrote this book. Oh, what's it called? John. It's kind of narcissistic, yeah. Well, what did he say? There's Peter, Thomas, okay. John, the disciple Jesus loves. What? You know, everyone's going to think he's Jesus' best friend, and we do. And so I think John calling himself that could either be the most arrogant thing he could say, or it's the most humble. You know, because if he were like me, I would have been talking all about my accomplishments. I mean, John was an outstanding disciple, so he could have written, you know, John, the one who laid his head on Jesus' chest, what's up? Or he could have said, and remember John, the one who got custody of Jesus' mother? Or if he were me, I'd say, you know, John, the one who was at the cross and all the other disciples punked out and ran away. But no, when it comes time to define himself, he doesn't define himself in what he did or any of his accomplishments for God. He wrapped it up in this, that I am the disciple that Jesus loves. 1 John 4:10 actually says, in this is love, not that we love God, but that he loved us. And so what this means is, in spite of your failures or in spite of your successes, our identity is now secure because it's not wrapped up in what we do for God, but what he did for us. For me, it's so freeing to know my identity is no longer musician. My identity is no longer failure or success. My identity is secure. I am the disciple Jesus loves. That's all that I am. It has nothing to do with what I've done or what I didn't do, my failures, my success. It has to do with what he did for me. And it means this too, that you and I, today, tomorrow, the next day, one thing we can be sure of is that we can get up and look ourselves in the mirror, and whether we feel it or not, we can look to the cross and say, I am the disciple that Jesus loves.